Today on The Conversation, we examine a wide range of issues from the Dan Anderson poll to the Integrity Commission and everything in between. And for that, we have resident analyst and social and political commentator Kevin O'Brien Chang. Welcome to The Conversation. How are you?
Thanks. Good, man. You good?
So far, can't complain. A lot has been happening over the political landscape, from the polls to the Integrity Commission to resignations and all of that, and we hope to shed as much light as possible on that. So let me just start with the polls. The JLP has sought to undermine the methodologies and the criteria used by political, by pollster Dan Anderson in conducting the recently commissioned polls. You think these allegations are baseless?
It's nonsense to take that approach. Dan Anderson has been doing polls for 30, 40 years? He has been, every election, he has called it within the margin of error. The man is the leading pollster in Jamaica. You don't attack such credibility. If you disagree with the poll, and they have a right to disagree with it, you can say it's taken during a salary issue and it's commissioned by the PNP. They should have taken an approach like we disagree with the poll. Why? Because we have done so much for the country, A, B, C, D, that we do not think we're behind in the polls. To try and attack, like in football, they say, play the ball, not the man. You should not question a man like Dan Anderson's credibility. That is it's a big blunder in my view, the JLP's approach.
So you think that when they went as far as to say it's contrived and fictitious and it's aimed at dampening voter confidence, you think that all those claims are also baseless?
Well, as far as Dan Anderson has a very credible record. It's not that this man just come and start the poll or a try. You don't attack the 30, 40 years of credibility. It is a very poor approach. Now, I can understand why they may not agree to polls. I know no government likes to be behind. But you can't see it was taken during the salary scandal, and the PNP commissioned it. And it's when a party commissions a poll, it's all a little questionable. I watched the polls over the years, right?
It's always a little questionable. Why is it that?
Because the results, they did one day, when they had the Peter Phillips race, they did a poll that showed Bunting was more favorable. And the numbers, for example, I remember the state of emergency, only 45% were in favor. All of the polls are showing 60, 70. So how come this poll is off? You never know. There's been a little things like that I've noticed. But still, it doesn't matter. You don't question a man like Dan Anderson's credibility. And as I said, the JLP wants to disagree, you do it another way. You can say, look, we have so many positives going. We've done, the numbers are good, jobs, all that, and all that. And so we don't think we're behind. That would have been a credible approach. The attack Dan Anderson is very foolish, very stupid.
All right. So we look at the recent surge in popularity as far as opposition leader Mark Golden is concerned.
No, there was no surge in popularity.
Well, and decline in popularity, even if it's marginal, of the Prime Minister.
No, that is weird. That is the question people had at the polls. The numbers, they took average.
Average?
They had what they had. Below that, not doing good, average, and doing bad. And they lumped the average and doing good and claim that this is his rating. No. The people were saying good. It actually fell from 14 to 12%.
Yeah.
Only 12% did a good job. Those numbers were contrived.
Contrived?
Yes. You don't add average to good and say the majority, the 60% is doing good. No, average is not good. So look at the good, and the good part fell from 14 to 12.
So you are saying then that contrived?
No. How the numbers were reported were contrived. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I'm not knocking the poll. But the way it was reported was contrived.
So is there or is there not a decline in popularity for the Prime Minister?
The Prime Minister declined, but Golding also declined. The argument that Golding's popularity went up is not.
So he has not moved any
numbers. It went from 14 to 12.
Okay.
Only 12% thinks doing a good job. So to go, it's data manipulation. For example, when they did one with the Gleaner had a poll, Dan Anderson poll thing, the same contrived thing. They had, I think, the commissioner and the security minister, like 10% were doing good, 50% same thing, like good, average, and not good. And they did Gleaner lump the bad and the average together. So 90% feel is not doing a good job.
So a better question then, is what do you think would give rise or the current cause of poor favorability among both politicians now, both the Prime Minister as well as...
Jamaicans are, well, actually, who I blame? The media.
The media?
Yes.
Oh.
The media is not focusing on what they should be focusing on. What does the media, the job of a media? What is the state of our country? They should be accurately reflecting that. Now, the stories we are telling me you're going to cover here. The biggest story in Jamaica right now was what the BOJ said the other day. Unprecedented financial stability. Epoch said the same thing. The economy has never been in a healthier state. And this is, the JLP will say it. He says that, well, yeah, that they're going to say, but this is from Epoch, Economic Oversight Committee, saying this is the economy is in great shape. The BOJ, the governors of the country, they're independent now, right? They're saying unprecedented financial stability, meaning the economy in Jamaica has never been in better shape. That is the reality. That is what the media should be focusing on. They're focusing on what? Donkey and gay marriage, I mean, really, think of it.
To your point, though,
I agree with it. Is the media's job to reflect the accurate state of the country using figures and not opinions? Yes, right?
Yes.
Is it doing it?
Yes, to some extent.
To some extent?
Yeah.
Yes, to some extent. But you're asking me why people think the negative view of the politicians, right? Is how much publicity has that gotten? Do you see in the front pages about it? Unprecedented financial stability. Unprecedented means since 1962, The best the economy has ever been doing, right?
It's not.
As I say, lowest unemployment ever. These are facts, I'm not giving an opinion. Hold on. Lowest unemployment ever. Lower inflation than Britain.
Yeah.
Higher growth rate than the US.
Yes.
Lowest debt rate in 30 years.
Yes.
Poverty rate is also down. The NIR is at its highest ever. These are glowing numbers.
In 30 years, you said death rate, the lowest death rate in 30 years or 20 years?
30 years, yeah, it's 90. The 90 since Finzak. Finzak was 93.
Oh, no.
Right?
Thank you for the
context.
You
saw the World Bank president came to Jamaica, first time in the history. The World Bank president of coming, he said the economy is doing exceptionally well compared to other poor countries. IMF vice president came here.
Yes, right? Compared to other poor countries,
to other third world countries, right?
Same thing.
And the Miami Herald gave us a glowing report the other day, right? The Financial Times called it an economic miracle.
But Kevin...
Now, these are not political entities. These are foreign entities.
And I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing now.
So take the politics out of it. All I'm talking about here is numbers and the foreign reports. No politics. Numbers have no political color.
It's good that you use the numbers now, but...
Numbers have no political tinge, not green or orange. Numbers are numbers.
I remember having an earlier conversation with you, and I started by saying that it's not important to just be right. You also need to be seen as being right.
Well, I will say the JLP has been atrocious at communicating, but these numbers are available for the media to look and highlight.
Hold on, follow me now.
The media's. Why is the media not saying it? Reporting the numbers.
No, man, hold on, follow me now. So yes, you have stated that EPOC and BOJ and World Bank and all those organizations have said that we are the best we have ever been.
Right, but the numbers back it up.
But when you talk to the average man on the road who is not feeling what you are seeing, what's the media's role in terms of getting that across now?
Let me ask you this. If unemployment was high, and inflation was high, and growth was low, and debt was high, and poverty rate was high, wouldn't the average man be suffering more? Whoever here is suffering now, if the numbers are bad, the suffering will be far higher. So that argument, it means nothing to the poor man. It's crazy.
So you're
because a poor, if the numbers are bad, the poor get poorer. The numbers are good, the poor get better off. It's going to common sense. To argue that these mean nothing to the common man is insanity.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, but that's what some people are saying.
No.
It don't mean nothing to the poor people. Well, if inflation was high and unemployment was high, sufferation would be higher. It's only common sense, boss.
But that's not what we're saying,
What are you saying?
All right. The question
we're not questioning the JLP is communicating terribly. That's not the question. I agree. They're communicating abominably. But the media still has the numbers. The numbers are still there. The World Bank presidents coming here and his statements are still there. What I'm saying is the media forget the JLP. The media doesn't work for the JLP. The media is supposed to reflect what is the state of Jamaica. What is any media in the world?
Objectively.
Exactly. And you go to the numbers. And he said, these are the reality.
But what would those numbers mean, though, to Tom Jones, who...
The numbers mean that Tom Jones have a job. Right now, young people, this is the biggest change I've seen in Jamaica since 2016. They have more job choices than ever in the history of Jamaica. Unquestionably.
Tell me about the quality of the job.
Before they had none. Let me tell you, anecdotally, hold on now. In the 90s, I have a business. University graduates used to come and apply for a store clerk job. Them can't get a job elsewhere. But they said, but, they like hire you, but you're overqualified, They couldn't get jobs anywhere.
No.
No, the jobs are there. No, they may not be, people might say it could be better. But they had no job before. At least now they can get a job that is better than I'm not knocking my people that work for me. But they don't have university degrees. No. The university person with a university degree can get a decent job. They don't feel ashamed of.
Hold that thought.
These are realities I'm talking.
Hold that thought. We're going to go to our first break. Stay with us. You are watching The Conversation. Welcome back to The Conversation. Just before the break, Kevin, you stated, you were implying that no job is better than, because
I wanted to find out about the quality, Hold on. So you're hungry. No, and a man say, here, see a crackers there. No, I want it. You prefer to have, I eat the crackers.
No. I'll eat the crackers.
Exactly, and that's what most people are. Listen, that's why the unemployment rate is the lowest ever.
Because they take whatever is there.
They might not, the people might say they like a better job, but it's good enough for me to work. Like I said, if the job was that horrible, would they take the job at all? No, they wouldn't.
No, but they don't have a choice. That's what you just said.
They don't have a choice. You don't have to work before
no, man.
You don't have to work.
Don't work or starve. Or work or starve.
Well, before, I am trying to say to you, sir, I remember extremely well, I mean, I'll make it up, 90s and 2000s. Remember 2007 election? What is the JLP big campaign mantra? Jobs. Because the young people had no jobs. They had none. I repeat it again, university graduates used to come to us and ask for a store clerk job, which you don't need a degree for. And I said, why? You're overqualified. I can't get a job else anywhere. I remember it very well. And I just feel it for them. I said, boy.
I know you have a whole heap of jobs.
They have a whole heap of options.
But can we eke out a meaningful living from any of those jobs, though?
It's better than nothing.
No, man.
Better than zero.
Give me a yes or a no, man.
Well, as I say, I don't hear them complaining. What I'm saying is they said, yes, I like a better work, but they're making money. I have a young stepson in the summer here. Him said, well, I go work on this and that. He has a call center job, right? Formerly, in the past, summers, I remember summer vacation, they'd have hordes of people apply to Fontana, want summer job, right? But we can only take on a few. Young people could not get summer jobs. Young people forget memory short.
No.
Jamaica, the young people in Jamaica, the options were so limited. There were no summer jobs. They would beg. Nowadays, you have options. My young stepson is, the thing I'm saying, I love it, but I'm getting decent money. I can do something with it. And he's happy enough to take the job.
All right.
So, and the vast amount of young people, and I say, people forget, but remember in 2007, the jobs. You don't hear young people bawling no. Yes, they want a better job, but that's how our economies grow. You think economies grow from 0 to 100 overnight? You go from no jobs to decent, not so great jobs, and then you move up the food chain to good jobs.
Okay.
So we're on the trajectory you would want us to be on. It's certainly a far better trajectory than no jobs, and young people say, we can't get no work.
All right, so last thing on
the poll. That has been, I'll give you an example. You always hear people talk about the glorious days of the 60s. 1971, 10% growth. You know what the unemployment was then? 23%. All right?
So now it's better.
Then what do you expect? People get 6% now.
So talk
6 better.
Talk to me about the poll results. Tell me how the poll results are reflecting changes in political sentiments among the different various demographic groups. Because we're saying no. Some of the information that I've been privy to is saying that the same amount of persons that voted per se in the 62 election when we got, and later on, it's pretty much the same in terms of nominal numbers, but in terms of percentage, obviously it's declining. So this is the lowest. Hold on. This is the lowest that voter apathy has been. So it's not, we're not voting in parties anymore, we're just voting out parties.
Let me tell you something. If you look at the percentage of Jamaicans who have voted of the population, it's been pretty stable. It's roughly about 30% historically. So, in fact, you look at the last election of the COVID one. Yeah. But more people, high percentage of Jamaicans voted in 2016 than in 1993. What the problem is, hold on now. Yeah. They're basing this thing on voter turnout based on the registered voters.
And they shouldn't?
No. But a lot of the people that register are only for the card. Jamaicans have always been kind of apathetic. You look, I said, if you look at historically, I'm telling you, we've averaged about 30% of the population. We have never, you know the highest percentage ever to vote? 1980, the bloodiest of election, the most tribalistic election, about 60%. So people talk about what happened. Would you prefer to go back to 1980, where massive turnout?
So how
because
can the
people
government,
are so tribalized?
How can both parties fix that?
Listen, to tell you the truth, the Jamaican party, the PNP and JLP, have been decent, credible parties over the years. They both looked out for the country. We cannot disagree what they've done that, and they have been pretty stable. Our parliamentarians, you saw the thing in Serbia the other day when they throw water on one and fire broke out, and you have seen it all over the world happen all the time. The top of parliamentarians are bad. They're pretty decent behavior. They laugh and joke. I think Jamaica's political system has done quite well. 60 years of unbroken democracy. There's one interpretation of a low voter turnout, you know. People are cool with how the country running. Either JLP or PNP, the country still go around decent, so I really don't have to kill myself up. And you watch the news. France, massive, thousands demonstrating. Israel, thousands demonstrating. Where is it? Costa Rica, Colombia. You cannot get 50 people to demonstrate in Jamaica except against burglary and gay marriage. The reality is Jamaicans, I tell people all the time, there can only be one explanation why so few Jamaicans want to go march. Even the salary scandal, or whatever you want to call it, when the politicians gave themselves a big increase, communicated it terribly. They deserve to get the kickback or the pushback because they communicated terribly. But you have these groups, you know, to demonstrate. They couldn't get 50 people. The biggest demonstration during that week, you know what was? A church group at a demonstration against UE having this transgender documentation for the people. That was the biggest demonstration.
So you're saying that we're not passionate about those things then, those other things?
No, because Jamaicans, I feel, generally are contented. The one issue we have ever since is the crime. But the trouble is neither party want to tackle the crime seriously. We've been through PNP and JLP, and we've seen the same wishy-washy approach, weak-kneed approach to the gangs and all that. And the people are said, no better, when it comes to crime, no better herring, no better barrel. But the other issues, do you see them? Do you see Jamaicans marching every day? You watch other countries, you're a newsman, you see it every day. Countries, massive demonstrations, am I wrong? And you can't get 50 people in Jamaica to demonstrate. Other than against these core issues, for whatever reason, the same-sex and the burglary law, Jamaicans are passionate about that. That one, if the government ever decide to bring it in, I can guarantee you 20,000, 30,000 people out there march or more. But that's our reality.
So tell me about now the recent resignation of 3 PNP councillors. What in your estimation, what were the specific reasons that you think might have prompted them to resign?
The buck stops at the top. You're not listening to the people. If your own councillors are resigning and quarreling with you, you are not listening to them. People don't do that except in extreme things. Remember, party loyalty is very high in Jamaica, you know. Right? And the PNP especially has had hardcore loyalty. So if you have councillors here, hardcore PNP who have put themselves on the line years in the party, resigning, it can only mean you are not listening to them. There's no other possible explanation. You're not listening to their concerns. And their concerns are very clear. They said they don't think the General Secretary is doing a good job. They don't think this MP that they want them to do is credible. They're very clear on what they said. And yet, despite these people on the ground, hardcore warriors have been there before you even joined the party. They were there fighting for the party. And you're not listening to them to the part that they resign. There's a communication deficit somewhere.
So what impact do you think this resignation or these resignations would have on the dynamics within the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation as well as broadly?
Don Anderson, we were talking about him before, wrote an article a few years ago, and the article was "Divided Parties Do Not Win Elections." And he has been following the numbers ever since. And that was the headline, and he listed it. Basically, the electorate feels if you are going to be busy arguing among yourselves, how can you run the country properly? It's only common sense. And that is a reality. A division never helps a party. I know there's a rumor that Hugh Graham is going to resign, which is a bad thing. I think Hugh Graham represents the best of the politics of Jamaica. Poor black man work himself up, become well off, and want to give back to the country. That's the kind of people you want in the system, you know. And if you can't keep a good man like that, I don't know if it's true, but the reports are there and there have been quarrels. You're not listening.
So you're saying that generally the People's National Party, one, is not unified, and two, their ears are not on the ground, so chances are they might remain as opposition for quite some time.
The evidence is there. They're divided. Them leave and join JLP and kick out the deputy mayor, and rumors are going for the deputy mayor next. It's obvious. I mean, it's right before our eyes. You know, so what can I say? And as I say, why would these people, stalwart PNP comrades from back, and they would resign? It can only be not listening to them. There could be nothing else but that.
All right, so continue to stay with us. You're watching The Conversation. We're talking with Kevin O'Brien Chang, social and political commentator. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Conversation. Recently, it has been announced that there is an intended or might be a resignation by one of the high-ranking members of the People's National Party. We discussed this and more as well. Tell me a little bit about you just started to look at it, the whole factionalism that exists within the party, and you spoke about an MP that might not seek re-election. Yeah. And now we're hearing about a Bunting versus Crawford in that same constituency. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like I said before, if Hugh Graham left, I'm very disappointed. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of man you want in a political system, right? But it's the nature of politics. People always want seats, you know? There's an old joke once, you know, in the British Parliament. They said a newcomer come in the government and talking to the old stuff. So the other side come, the enemy has come in. The old man said to him, enemy? That's Her Majesty's loyal opposition. The enemy is behind you. All right? So there's always going to be parties fighting against each other, but within parties, listen, politics is an ego thing. Yeah, people, if you don't have a big ego, you don't go into politics. But we need them, you know. There's a certain breed. But if we didn't have that breed, you wouldn't have politics running the country. So they all have big egos. They want to get to the top. Every politician's dream is to become prime minister, the boss, or everybody around. Okay? So they're going to be fighting within parties for a seat. So Mr. Bunting, Mr. Crawford wanting the seat. It's natural. They don't have seats, but they're prominent. The difference, I'll tell you this, my view, and the polls show it. Mr. Bunting he's a financial genius. He's a brilliant man, but he does not have the people's touch. It's obvious. He's not a natural. Politicians in general, in my view, the main thing is that good politicians love people. Good politicians just like people. They like being around them, talking this and that. Mr. Bunting is a numbers man. He's not the guy, warm, emotional guy there. Damon Crawford now has a touch. The polls always show it. He's very popular. The last polls I saw, he was very high popular. Mr. Bunting was down there. So if you go off the popularity of the people on the ground, you would naturally favor Mr. Crawford. But Mr. Bunting has one big advantage which always helps in all aspects of life, including politics. He has a very big wallet.
So you think that Crawford's popularity is good enough, or plus his track record as minister?
I didn't say good enough. I just saying it. I said.
No, man. I want to find out if you think it's
one
good
man
enough
have the
to
people,
push him there.
One man will the likability, the popularity. the natural thing. One man has the money.
So I'm just asking you
I
about track record.
can't say which one will win. What?
No, I'm just asking you about track record.
Oh,
so
the
based on what you have
record?
seen from Crawford's track record, do you think that would be sufficient, coupled with this popularity, for him to be that candidate?
I can't set a question. I said one man is popular, one man have the money. I don't know which one will win. I'm not saying that one is strong, pocket strong, or one popularity strong. But listen, you can, one thing in life, and especially politics, you never predict. As I was saying, I never make any prediction, especially about the future, without data. And I don't have any data to say which one the delegates will prefer, assuming that the PNP follows what it's supposed to do, because for some strange reason, almost every PNP new candidate nowadays, there's massive controversy. The burn down doctor, the constitute the thing, right? Dr. Dawes burned down the office. They had a fight up in Lisa Hanna's seat, right? They had a fight down in St. Elizabeth. I don't know why it's such fractiousness going on, but it shouldn't be tough. PNP in politics for 80 years. You have the delegates vote, open, everybody is honest and open, and delegates vote and you accept their choice. I don't know why it's so tough to do that, but for some strange reason, it's not happening. All
right, tell me about the selection process, because I remember having a conversation as well, perhaps even with you, where we looked at Mark Golding's mechanism that he uses to determine who's the candidate, as well as Dayton Campbell's whole thing. Do you think that this is a good enough opportunity for them to test the mechanism to see, because these are two relatively good candidates? All right, how will they choose? Do you think this is good enough?
It would be, except who is Mark Golding's co-founder of Proven.
So you're saying that might be skewed then?
I'm just giving a reality, boss. I don't know, I'm only saying it. Do you think it's going to be, if I was Damon Crawford, would I feel that this is a fair contest if Mark Golding start to fit with the delegates? How was Mark Golding chosen as PNP leader? The delegates voted, right? And the choice of the delegates was accepted. Now, I don't understand why historically this has been the method. All politicians, all leaders have been chosen. Andrew Holness was chosen when Earl Shaw challenged him to. All leaders have been chosen by the delegates. All constituency representatives have been chosen by the delegates. It's a time-tested thing. 80 years has been used by both JLP and PNP, and now a new approach is being used where people start burning down constituency offices. My eyes tell me that when people burning on a constituency office, this new mechanism is not working very well.
So we're seeing far more issues than we'd be comfortable with. What does this mean though for overall democracy? Because here we have now an opposition that's not properly able to oppose because they are fractious, as you stated earlier. What does that mean for the state of our democracy? No.
We've been through it before, boss. Forget Seaga, Gang of Five, Golding, NDM. That's part of politics. Politics is a human nature thing, And human nature is not a predictable, rational thing. We saw Edward Seaga, where he was so disliked in his party. Not by it, but people, Bruce Golding left and formed a new party. NDM, I don't know if PNP going to reach that state, but you can't say at least the PNP, they haven't broken away and started a new party yet. So I don't think, it's not unprecedented, it's part of democracy. You want it to settle down. You want a strong opposition and a strong government and best choice for the people. But politics is a messy thing. And as I say, we've seen it before, and I don't think it's going to I think it will sort itself out eventually. Eventually, I think rationality will kick in and say, look, we want to win an election. Is this the way to do it? No, let's go back the proper way. That's what I believe.
So right now you think that the PNP is their own worst enemy?
Of course. Just like when the JLP was in the days with Golding and Seaga, when Golding had to leave. Seaga, they could well have won the 2002 election, the JLP, And they were due, remember, every 10 years, and they messed it up. So will the PNP, if I was a PNP, I would go back and read a little history of the JLP and the NDM and Gang of Five, what happened to the JLP. But you say they have a famous saying that the one thing we learn from history is that people never learn from history.
So you're saying that they're not learning from history and they're bound to repeat the same mistakes?
I didn't say they're bound to. They can. They're rational people. Mark Golding the man is an Oxford graduate, he's not a fool. He can go back and look and say, hold on, do I want to make the same mistake Edward Seaga did? It's up to him. But eventually, the JLP eventually got it right. Took him a long time. So, I don't know. It's how to paint people to try and learn from the mistakes of others and not go repeat the same mistakes.
All right. So we go to our final break. This is The Conversation. Welcome back to The Conversation. I'm joined again by Kevin O'Brien Chang, political and social commentator. Now, just before the break, well, we have looked at a number of things, but one of the things that I wanted to get from you is this renewed call, or renewed criticism of the Integrity Commission by members of Parliament. What are your views on that?
Listen, a government entity overseeing the Parliament, the watchdogs then, right, has to be seen as totally impartial. Once you're seen to be favoring one side, your credibility is shot. We saw it to the ombudsman. Remember, the ombudsman's job was to be a watchdog, impartial. When to the ombudsman, when the ombudsman, Mark Golding, called Bobby Man to go little boy, right? And there's a tinge of racism doing. A white man call a black man a little boy. We have slavery and all them things. We know the backstory. The ombudsman said he must apologize and pay a fine. He refused. I'm not doing it. The media was silent. Nobody, the civil society groups were silent. Right? None of them came out and said, no, this cannot be. Mr. Golding has to obey the ombudsman. Right? So after that, the ombudsman credibility was totally shot.
So you're saying that that's the issue now with the Integrity Commission?
The issue with the Commission is it seen by Jamaicans as impartial?
Is it Jamaicans or members of Parliament?
Jamaicans. They had a poll, nationwide did a poll, after the Prime Minister, when they brought the charge, even though they had dismissed it already, they still publicized it, and it reached international news. Right? Despite you have say no further investigation is needed, but you still bring the first document to Parliament, it reached international news, and the next day comes, oh, well, we dismissed the charge already. People felt it was politically motivated enough that when they took a poll, blew that poll, the majority of Jamaicans said it's not impartial. Right? And since then, we have had a look at the Bunting and Montague thing, they blew it apart. So there are two people that were under this similar charge, right? All of a sudden, one man you let off, the other man said, why, how get let off? What procedures were used? Him can't get an answer. And so, right now, let me tell you something. I saw something on the internet the other day. Australia had the same Integrity Commission, or all Commonwealth countries. They have a committee that oversees Integrity Commission to watch them. Who shall guard the guardians, right? And clearly, we need an oversight body on Integrity Commission now. Bipartisan, because you cannot have if people feel you're biased, they're going to take everything as political. They're going to say, it's just politics you're playing. And that is the Integrity Commission now is where the ombudsman was. People are saying, is this body doing the job it is supposed to do?
So you're saying that Jamaicans are echoing the sentiments that Integrity Commission is biased and
a lot of people are wondering,
malicious in their intent.
A lot of, yes. For the Prime Minister one, it came across as very malicious. It's either malicious or incompetence. How can you dismiss a charge and then still let go of the charge before that? You had the documents, So it seemed either incompetence or deliberate. And then Jamaicans now are wondering, is this body impartial or is it playing politics? And that is where, as I said, we have seen it before with the ombudsman. We saw it, what if history is repeating itself? Where people lost all respect for the ombudsman. So when the government took it away, not even one peep.
But we saw the opposition.
So I say, this is what I'm saying. I'm in favor of the theory of the Integrity Commission, and we need it.
Yes,
we need a watchdog.
But
the watchdog has to be seen as impartial, and they must follow the Australian model. So go back and look at other models.
So the watchdog needs to be watched.
Yes. There's a famous saying from Juvenal back in Roman days, 2,000 years ago, who should guard the guardians? The big question. So the other countries have seen the situation and done something, set up a thing. We need to go back and look at the Australian model or something like it, have a committee that is watching the Integrity Commission. So, because right now you have it is nobody can do nothing to them. We can't vote out the politicians, we can't change the Integrity Commission, man.
Hold on 1 second though. The opposition leader has stated that the government is seeking to undermine the Integrity Commission.
Exactly the point. And there you go. So, there you go. One party is in favor of it, the other party is against it. Clearly, it's no longer seen as impartial. It needs.
So it couldn't be the truth. It must be a case whereby one is in favor and one is out.
Well, we don't listen. The public can only watch and listen, right? We don't know the facts, and people don't follow that closely. But when you hear one man say, "Yes, big up Integrity Commission," the other one say, "No, to Integrity Commission," immediately say, "Well, a politics this. It's not an impartial body. It's no longer seen as an impartial body." Where perception is reality in politics. I'm not saying this. I don't know their Integrity Commission, their motives or what they're doing and all that. I'm not a lawyer. I do know I saw the Andrew Holness thing, and that was either malicious or incompetence. So right now people are saying either the Integrity Commission is biased or they're incompetent. That's the talk on the ground for a lot of people.
How can they respond to these claims though?
They have to say, okay, we are public between losing confidence, let's adopt the Australian model or something like it. They can look elsewhere and adopt a model that has worked elsewhere. Jamaica is not the only country in the world. We're not the only Commonwealth country. Every country is seeking to monitor the politicians, so you can have integrity and less corruption. Every country desires that, right? Jamaica has done a middling job. We're the 70th highest ranked in the world, right? Out of 190. So roughly in the top third. We want to be in the top 10, top 20. That should be our goal. And this is one thing the media is framing the argument totally wrong. Jamaica the most corrupt country in the world. The statistics don't show that. We're number 70. You say, that's too low, but it's 190. Say, okay, let's move up top 50, top 30. That is where the pressure should be. Improve your score. But don't chat garbage about the most corrupt country in the world when the statistics clearly contradict that. Or even the fact that we are, if you go by the Transparency International, our integrity score is the highest ever. We're at 44 or something. We're back in the 30s.
Out of the
media's...
Come on, out of how many? 44 out of
100. But we used to be 30s. What we've gone up? I am saying, we need to be higher. But the narrative that this is the most corrupt government ever, which a lot of people are saying, is manifestly false if you look at the numbers. And you have to look at the numbers. Otherwise, you're going to do what? So the media should be saying, look, Holness, we're number 70 for about 5 years now. Why you can't improve and go to top 50? That's where you should be going. Frame it that way. Frame it around numbers, credible numbers. Stop with the ridiculous rhetoric of most corrupt government ever, most corrupt in the world. It isn't simply not true. The numbers are there. And that's where I blame the media. They say things. Give me the facts, please, media. Give me the reality. Don't give me words that can be manipulated. You can't manipulate the numbers, and it is there.
Give me a better way. Because, it sounds like you're whipping the media now,
I'm whipping the media because with media should be saying, we're number 70, and frame the argument about Mr. Holness. We're number 70 for about 5 years now. Why we can't improve? Instead of saying, most corrupt government ever. What I'm saying is the rhetoric, the media should be guided by facts and not rhetoric. That is why I'm blaming the media.
All right, so we're fresh out of time now. So thank you very much, Mr. Brian Chang, for having this discussion, a very robust discussion. Look forward to having you again. There you have it, the conversation. We have had much to talk about, and clearly we still have a lot more. So we ask that you join us next time for the conversation. I am Kwame Thomas.